Khan is plagued by a recurring nightmare of a devastating attack by the Nak aliens. The nightmare has haunted him for 11 years, since his family lost everything in the tragedy. Despite his attempts to forget the scenes, they persist every night until the climax of the second impact. The vivid details of the Nak creature and its desperate, fearful eyes evoke sympathy in Khan, even though they were responsible for the destruction. After waking up from the nightmare, Khan inspects his appearance in the mirror and notices an azure scar on his torso, a result of the Nak's toxic mana infecting his body. He fears the infection may return, but he is relieved to see that his hair and eyes have not been affected. Khan hopes that joining the army will help put an end to his nightmares. Living in the slums, Khan's home is small and made of poor materials. His father, Brett, sacrifices everything to care for Khan after losing his position in the global army due to the second impact. Khan's mother, Elizabeth, died during the alien attack that shattered their lives. Brett had invested all his resources to stabilize Khan's condition as the Nak's mana infection threatened his son's life. The expenses associated with Khan's treatment eventually forced them to move to the slums. Khan heads to work in the mines to gather money before enlisting in the global army. Meanwhile, the continuing insurgency of the GSA and the world of uncertainty surrounding the failure of the Narc aliens. The slums, where people wearing ragged clothes can be seen despite the cold weather. Khan, a young boy, walks towards the mines and encounters familiar faces along the way. The houses start to become scarce as he gets closer to the mines, which still bear the scars of a battle against the Nak that happened years ago. Khan joins a line of workers waiting to enter the mines. The mines are made up of debris from the battle against the Nak, and only those who can wield mana, a form of energy, can defeat the Nak. Soldiers patrol the area and maintain order using a large robot to control the crowds. Khan overhears an old man complaining about the global army's control over the slums and their use of the residents as a free workforce. Khan ignores the complaints and focuses on his goal of avenging the nightmares he has experienced. He plans to join the global army when he turns 16, as they are the only ones with the power to defeat the Nak. After a short wait, Khan enters the mine and begins to dig for valuable materials. He encounters 3 men who claim that the spot he is digging in belongs to them, but Khan asserts his right to the spot as a survivor of the second impact, a battle against the Nak. The men back down when they see the scar on Khan's chest, a result of his encounter with the Nak. Khan continues to dig and uncovers a new tunnel that leads him to the ground zero of the second impact. He finds a mana core, a source of power, and is elated at the prospect of gaining the ability to use mana. However, his excitement is interrupted by the appearance of a mutated rat, a result of exposure to the Nak's mana. Khan quickly runs back through the tunnel, leaving the rat behind.
Khan, a youth from the wealthier districts of Ilako, who had been forced to mature early in the harsh environment of the slums, was in a dire situation. The mines he worked in were on the verge of being sealed by the global army due to a tainted animal, a dangerous creature mutated by Nak's mana. Khan was familiar with the tainteds. His own father had suppressed the Nak's mana within him when he was a child. As Khan and several dozen other miners were trying to escape the mines, a mechanical voice confirmed the presence of the tainted animal and announced the sealing of the mine. Despite their pleas and attempts to force the sealed metal door open, the global army ignored them, choosing to contain the risk of infection spreading. Khan revealed that he had seen the tainted rat and its azure eyes. Seeing the workers' fearful reaction, he quickly showed them his azure scar, proof of his own past infection and current immunity. Yet, he was aware of the danger if they saw him as a threat. This is why I need to enlist and get my hands on the damned mana, Khan thought, the thought of his powerlessness gnawing at him. Suddenly, the miners decided to use him to buy time. Since Khan was immune, they wanted him to confront the tainted rat. Despite his protests, they were ready to throw him into the tunnel if he resisted. With no other choice, Khan reluctantly agreed to face the creature alone. As he ventured into the tunnels, the workers threw their shovels at him in an attempt to hasten his departure. Alone and afraid, Khan waited, hoping for the soldiers to reopen the mines. His intuition soon told him the tainted creature was near, as an azure halo began to glow at the end of the tunnel. Khan now faced a tainted animal, a consequence of the alien Nock's mana. Having developed immunity to its effects, Khan relied on his wits and a shovel against the beast. Stealthily approaching, he surprised the creature, his shovel meeting flesh rather than the expected tough alloy. The ensuing flurry of attacks left the rat's head in a mess and Khan's makeshift weapon broken. Victory was short-lived as the seemingly dead rat retaliated fiercely, flinging Khan away and latching onto his chest. Its teeth and claws dug into him, crippling him with pain. In a desperate struggle, Khan managed to kill the rat using the remaining metal handle of his shovel. But the damage was done. Injury severe, Khan was on the verge of losing consciousness. In his fleeting consciousness, Khan remembered his father's words about Manakoras. He reached for a mystical pearl, supposedly a Manakora, in his pocket. Attempting to bend it with his blood, the core responded, albeit faintly. Khan's initial frustration turned into relief as he noticed his wounds healing under the azure glow of the core. Despite his weakness, Khan managed to stand, determined to learn more about the day's events and not be caught unprepared again. He decided to take the rat's corpse as proof, a deterrent for the soldiers intent on reopening the mines. Through loss and pain, Khan emerged victorious, adapting to and learning from the unexpected. Khan returns to the entrance of the mines, carrying the dead tainted rat and his broken shovel. The miners panic at the sight and beg the soldiers to let them go. Khan tries to calm them down, but fails to get the desired reaction. He threatens to throw the rat at them to create some silence. He then tries to convince the soldiers to let them out, but they refuse to open the doors until the area is secured by enhanced troops, which will take time. Khan laments the fact that the global army doesn't prioritize the slums and wishes to see enhanced soldiers in action. He prepares to wait inside the mines for a few days, conserving his energy. The miners have no food, but Khan plans to use the dead rat to get water from the workers. Khan reflects on the danger of the mana core infecting someone and causing mutations. He resolves to be more careful to avoid dying and making the past 10 years of his nightmare pointless. However, his nap is interrupted by his father, Brett, arguing with the soldiers outside the doors. Brett demands that they let Khan out since he has already survived an infection. The soldier refuses, citing regulations. Khan interrupts the argument and assures them that he killed the rat. There is a moment of silence before Brett recognizes Khan's voice and demands the doors to be opened. After Khan steps back, Brett breaks open the doors with his power, causing chaos among the soldiers. They leave the mines and Brett believes their home will be raided again. However, he notices the blood on Khan's pullover and checks his son's injuries, relieved to find him unharmed. Khan shows his father the mana core they found. Brett suggests going home to clean before the soldiers arrive and throws the rat at a soldier to cause a distraction. They leave the area while the chaos unfolds. Khan suggests gaining something from the tainted animal, but Brett refuses, stating he doesn't want to risk anything during the transplantation. Mana are organs that provide access to mana, a mystical energy that allows humans to manipulate magic and enhance their physical abilities. Humans require mana cores to activate their connection to the mana that fills the universe. Now, aliens who are filled with mana no longer need these cores. While humans are considered an inferior species in terms of evolution, some exceptional individuals have surpassed the Nock in terms of mana usage. After obtaining a mana core, humans must undergo training to effectively use mana. Different synthetic cores are used by the global army, depending on an individual's talent and rank. The azure pearl retrieved from the mines, which was once a Nock's mana core, holds immense power and is considered one of the best on the market. Khan, Brett's son, shows signs of developing a sensitivity to mana after a traumatic event called the Second Impact. Brett suppressed mutations caused by this event, but recognizes that Khan may have certain advantages in the army due to this sensitivity. Mana gains an element once it enters the body, which is an innate feature. However, Khan will have to wait until he joins the army to discover his element. There are differences between warriors and mages in terms of training and abilities. Ultimately, humans must train both their bodies and minds to become proficient in using mana. Brett performs a mana core transplant on Khan, causing him temporary pain and discomfort, but ultimately granting him access to mana. However, Khan does not immediately feel any different, as the mana core is merely the trigger, and training is required to activate and control the mana. Brett teaches Khan a visualization technique to help him focus and move mana within his body. While practicing this technique, Brett coughs up blood, indicating that he has broken an oath by teaching Khan this advanced technique. Before they can address Brett's condition, a soldier from the global army arrives outside their door, demanding entry.